Philadelphia, are you ready?
They said, are you ready?
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
Welcome everybody to Brotherly Love Wrestling, and we are live here on Facebook. And on today's show, we have the Runway joining us. Tyler and Calvin, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Thank you.
How are you guys?
Pretty good. How about you guys?
Good.
Doing well, doing nice and snowed in.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a fan.
It's melting a little bit where we are, thankfully, but just trying to stay warm.
Now, where are you guys? Are you guys in Pennsylvania?
We are in Pittsburgh. Yep.
And you guys are getting it melted before us?
It was
Yeah,
sunny
actually,
today.
it was pretty sunny today.
God damn it.
Yeah.
We didn't have such fortune. It snowed till about 4 here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen pictures from where my family is in Jersey and everything, and it's just feet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think we're right around the foot mark. I know a little bit north of us is about 2 feet.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I've seen plenty of people in New York. It's like just buried.
Yeah. Keep it up there. Bury 'em.
Definitely.
Well, welcome to the show. We don't usually do a lot of tag team wrestling, but we want to do kind of highlight tag team wrestling because you don't really get to see that a lot on podcasts. Usually it's a lot of singles people, but I guess that's because of the reason you can't normally get a tag team together or in tune at the same time. But here we are. We're doing it. We're pulling it off.
There you go.
What a perfect tag team Tuesday.
Exactly.
There you go.
Triple T.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do the math.
Yeah, 'cause you guys had some of our fellow leapfroggers on yesterday, didn't you?
Yes.
We did. We had the big
one.
daddies.
I hate that.
Yeah. I mean, at least we got to slap him with the meat.
Yeah.
That was a plus.
Yeah. That was probably one of my biggest best memories of summer. Hitting them with the meat at camp. They deserved it. They deserved it. I still don't. I don't feel bad.
Not one
I don't feel bad.
Where does the animosity come from?
Well, I was just angry that they, were acting all tough at camp, and I was just trying to get my vegan patty.
They were just taking way too long to get their food. That's what it was.
And they were just giving us crap because we wanted quality vegan meat. Like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Maybe I was on a little bit of a special diet, and I didn't want the low quality beef that they were serving. And I was told that there would be vegan options there, and there weren't. All right, so they were getting in our faces about being anti-meat. Like, get over yourselves.
Let's face it, Ron's got a slappable face.
Yeah,
I mean, you heard people over the internet heard the slap on that one, so
whatever,
worth it.
Whatever.
Food lines can get pretty hostile, so I will give you that.
Especially when they don't have what you asked for or what you were told is going to be there. I'm going to say asked for, but what you told was going to be there. Why give diet restrictions and if they're not even going to help us out?
We had a list of demands going in.
And you were probably hangry. You were hungry.
Very.
It was
waiting
rude.
in line.
No idea.
It's the perfect storm of emotions to slap someone with some meat.
Yeah, I can't even. I'm still upset about it to this day. Powers to be a camp leapfrog, but whatever. You know what? I'm gonna be the bigger person, and just keep on keeping on. But you have a good tag team tonight. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly.
Well, that's very noble of you to slide it under the rug.
Yeah,
we appreciate that.
Yeah,
we appreciate the professionalism because we lack that sometimes.
I mean,
Yes.
were Ron and Trajan together yesterday? No, don't think so. See,
No.
I mean,
No,
They were in different
you made
states.
sure it was easier.
well,
Yeah.
different stitch.
We can feel the hospitality. You guys bring a certain couth to the show. I don't know if I used that right, but that's what you know what I meant.
Yeah, we have our own specific class in SAS that we bring to the show. So yeah, it's a presence. It's an experience. So you're welcome for that.
Well, who's the class and who's the SAS?
Oh, I wouldn't say one is specifically one or the other, to be honest with you. I mean,
both parts equal.
We both can be equally sassy. I think I might have a little bit of a sassier side.
Depends on the occasion.
But then sometimes I have a little more of a classier side. So it just depends. It just depends on our environment, to be honest with you. I think we go back and forth with that.
Are we going to try and coin this phrase as a tag team nickname moniker of class and sass?
No, I think it's just
I think a lot of people have that or use that as a moniker, and we're definitely not like others. So
we just want it to be known. We don't have to say it. We show it. So
Gotcha. You don't wear it on your shirts. You just do it.
Oh yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Camp Leapfrog. Is there any plan on returning to camp?
There could be. You never know what's going to happen at Camp Lovefrog. That's actually going to be coming up here shortly.
Valentine's Day, correct?
Yep. You might want to check that out. The Runway may have a little something planned.
You know, working with Still Life in his party that he's putting on. I mean, he came directly to.
Just to say, we had exclusive invites, so you'll have to check that out to see how that pans out.
The mystery and intrigue of it.
Yeah.
Well, if we gave it all away, you wouldn't watch.
I mean, it's not a party without us. It's Still Life's party, but you know,
we got to be on the VIP list.
We are the only ones on the VIP list with that. So
it's kind of a peek behind the curtain. Only a peek.
Just a small.
Yeah.
You can't give away too much, but tune in. You'll love it. It's going to be great.
Here to give away. So
we had already planned on it. We love Camp Leapfrog and what they've done with all that and how they've kind of made like a fun environment for wrestling, because you don't, especially with this twist on it, you don't get to see that often.
It all just kind of came together. You know, it was a lot of fun to do, and then I mean, unfortunately, they've interrupted two of our contests.
Well, let's not get started with that. But what I like about
please.
what I think is different about Camp Leapfrog that wrestling needs right now, it gives a little. Well, wrestling, I think by definition, is kind of that escape from reality, and this kind of gives it a little more of that escape. It kind of dives a little bit more into the story, into the background. And I really enjoy what is put out there because it is different. You know, you don't really, I think with everything going on, the current climate that's happening right now is people are looking for something that's a little different. Really because, I mean, crowds aren't really there right now. So fans don't really get to experience wrestling like they traditionally have been able to in the past. So I think this is definitely one of those situations and one of those experiences that the fans can have where they can really get, they can really develop that story, that escape from reality, and really tune in to see what surprises are going to happen next.
And they space it out enough to where it's, you know, seasonal. So you have every single season, you have every single little story that's going on.
I mean, look, Effie's going to be on the next show. What?
I mean, you bring in, you know, big people like that.
Yeah. What? That's fantastic.
Yeah, it started out as kind of like a smaller show, and now names are starting to flock to it. So,
I mean, what Halloween we had Warhorse
was there for Halloween. We had 911 was there for Halloween, which is great. Yeah, but it's one of those things where, you know, you never know who's going to show up, and that's what's great about it. So,
you know, show up, or you know, what'll happen.
Exactly.
Well, and I think
go ahead, Ralph.
That's the best thing about Leapfrog. I think you look all over the place, from whether it's the big guys like WWE, AEW, Impact, and what they're doing. And then you look at even like Ring of Honor, bringing back that pure division and trying to bring that back and resurrect that, make it better. Then you look at Leapfrog and you tune in, and it's a different style of wrestling. It's storytelling. It's fun for the sake of fun that not taking wrestling too seriously. But then when you guys get in the ring, the athleticism that you guys show, and I think blows people away the most, is because of the storytelling. So you think, all right, they better telling stories. You get in the ring and you tear it down every match throughout the card. There's not a lot of companies out there doing that, especially locally, closer to us, that are doing that, and it's fun to watch, no matter what the age either.
Exactly, and with everything that people can go online and see, wrestling on YouTube, things like that, you kind of run into a lot of the same stuff, and if their shows, they don't really get the story what might have happened before. With Leapfrog, they're giving you every couple of months where it's like, okay, this is what we did last time, and here's how we build, here's how it goes. And that's what, I mean, to me, that's my favorite part of wrestling. My favorite part of wrestling has always been that story and just kind of building on that. And that's why I like that. And it's something that's hard to find now.
And what's great too is you don't have to see previous Leapfrog shows to understand the story of what's happening and what's going on. You don't necessarily have to have that build. And I think now we're in a time in wrestling where it's almost impossible to have that build unless you have a weekly show, online series, definitely events that are along those lines. Because now it's one of those situations where, even local promotions, they don't want to have their general type of wrestling show, but that's kind of what it is because it's so hard to build those storylines right now. And you have some promotions that don't normally build storylines, and that's fine too because, it just is what it is. But I think that's what's so different and what's great about Leapfrog is, they have that event, they have that storyline. Each event has its own little plot, and I think that was something that, like I mentioned before, that was missing, that the fans can really get behind. Within, depending on how long that slot is going to be, and I think that's definitely something that goes a long way and can get the fans invested.
Well, I think they found a way to simplify storylines and make it that anybody can follow. And not to mention, being on IWTV gives you the chance to go back and watch it if you are questioning, like, okay, well, why is this guy getting slapped in the face with meat? Why is this guy so angry? You can go back and watch that. Like, having that platform in itself is huge.
Oh, no, it is. And it's great that they have, the way that they are set up with doing it. They can just tell the entire story in one entire show, like start to finish, because of those little vignettes in between and things like that. So I think that's really what they're getting at. Like they're saying, yeah, we're going to have a match, but here's the build up and here's why this match is happening. And it's really great for them to just kind of go from an opening of the story at the beginning of the show and then just be able to close it all off at the very end. I think that's what's working out really well for them right now.
Is it safe to call it a wrestling sitcom?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that was the intent of it. The intent of it was to do something a little different, to make it campy. I mean, ironically enough, just to make it campy. And I think a lot of people think it reminds them of like an 80s style of story with, a modern day style of wrestling. And I really think that's what it is. And it's fantastic. I think it's different. It stands out, and it really shows. You see a lot of the passion that comes from everyone that's involved. And I think that's something that, well, of course you have to be passionate about wrestling to be in it, but there's something extra special about the group of campers at Camp Leapfrog that really goes that extra mile.
Now we've talked a lot about story and storyline and how that's probably an integral part in professional wrestling. And I wanted to know how long you've been a tag team and how important and how different is it being a tag team and building a story within a match, in a tag team match, as opposed to a singles match?
So, interestingly enough, I'll start.
Go ahead.
So I debuted as a singles, as more so of a singles wrestler, and slowly started becoming a tag team specialist, if you will. Just different places I would go and different people I would wrestle with. I would always get placed in tag teams in various promotions. So I've been in countless tag teams. And at first, I wasn't a fan of it. But then I slowly, through tag team wrestling, I became more into my own in regards to who I am as a wrestler and where I want to take myself as a wrestler. And that is something that I think actually helped me, I don't want to say be more of a star, but it really helped me focus on my attributes, what I was good at, what I needed to focus on, and really be able to, really work with what I had and make it work. But I mean, we've been teaming up now for about a year and a half. Mm-hmm. So it hasn't been too long since we've been a team. But I think it really goes a long way finding the right tag team partner. I've been fortunate enough that I've had a lot of good chemistry with a lot of my former tag team partners, and everyone that I've been in duos with. But you really have to find a good chemistry with somebody for a good team to work and to really take it to the next level. And I feel like with wrestling the way it is right now, it's even more important to really be passionate about what you're doing, especially like I mentioned before with the climate that we're in. It really shows whenever you are passionate about that. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I mean, I started off as a singles in a totally different state. I was up in Massachusetts where I started, was up there for about a year and everything. And we had become friends over social media, very similar characters, to start. And I mean, I look at tag team wrestling as kind of my preferred way, because you can tell a little bit more of a story. You have somebody who's there who can, you can play off of more, not just the manager, but somebody you can play off more, in the ring. And my favorite part about it is nowadays you really don't have a lot of, tag teams that travel together. You have more tag teams that are just, they're on a show and they're booked and it's some random person with another random person. And you don't see that, the matching gear or, you don't see them as a tag team, just seeing like person one, person two thrown together. There you go. But with us, I mean, it's great to have somebody who I know can pick up, maybe things that I need to improve on and kind of tell me about it and work together in that aspect. And also to go to those shows and be that sort of attraction for the show, as far as like, oh, look, here's a tag team. They come out there, they have similar styles. They have similar looks. They just kind of have that, charisma that works together. And I think that's why I've gone more wanting to do tag team wrestling more so than singles, because I find it more entertaining, especially with the crowd. Because if he's in there, I can work the crowd and just kind of have my fun with that, and then switch it up right then and there when I need to.
And I think for me too, I don't necessarily say I wouldn't say I prefer one over the other whenever it comes to tag team and singles wrestling. I think from a psychological standpoint, they're very different. I think a lot of people think tag team wrestling is just two separate single matches, and I think that's where a lot of teams lose their cohesiveness. Because whenever it comes down to, I mean, you're always going to have random tag matches that come together, whether it's for storyline purposes or whatnot. But it's definitely a different way of thinking and a different way of being in the ring, different offense, a lot more things to think about. And I really do think tag team wrestling is a lost art form. And I really enjoy kind of bringing that art form back to the independent circuit and trying to build that back up as an important part of the show. Ever since I've kind of been involved in tag team wrestling, that's one thing that I've always wanted to really just bring back the legitimacy of tag team wrestling, because I think it's been forgotten about, and hopefully get a bigger highlight on it, especially on the independent scene.
Now, do you think that puts you at an advantage point being an actual tag team that has a gimmick and that has character work and all that, does that put you at an advantage, elevating yourselves higher and higher? Because just like you said, there aren't a lot of actual tag teams in independent wrestling. A lot of them are just lumped together. So, I mean, wouldn't you say that you guys would be at an advantage point to get yourself further in your career being an actual tag team?
I think I want to say I'm leaning more towards yes on that. And the reason why I am leaning more towards yes on that is because it's a cohesive unit. And, you know, it is something where we do like to go and market ourselves together. However, you know, if we do end up getting, you know, singles matches, or, you know, maybe certain places want to use us in singles, we do that too. I mean, we can pretty much do it all. But, you know, I do think at the end of the day, we have gotten a lot of the opportunities that we have gotten because we are a team. And it's exciting, the opportunities that we're hopefully going to continue to get as a team. I think one thing that does set us aside as being a team is we are constantly changing our look. We're constantly getting new gear. We're constantly refreshing our gear. You know, we try to look as much like a team as possible, because I think that is something that is missing from tag teams, especially in this day and age. And a lot of that is because people don't want to be billed as just a tag team. But you got to look like a team, and I think that's an issue that I've had with a lot of my tag team partners in the past. Like, you know, you can wear the same color, you know, so on and so forth, but I feel like to really look like a team and really look like a cohesive unit, you do have to match. Not necessarily look alike in regards to, you know, your bodies or anything like that, but, you know, just look like you two kind of you're cut from the same cloth, if you will. Literally cut from the same cloth. Not even really character wise, but, you know, some of the best tag teams. I mean, for example, one that comes to mind, like the Hart Foundation, like Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart, they did not look alike, but they always matched. You knew that they were a team. And, you know, I think that's something confusing for the fans too, especially independently. If you're wearing a similar color to your opponents, it can get really confusing really quickly on exactly who is who in the ring and what team you are on. So, you know, I think it's just it's the overall package. I think it's the overall look. But that's kind of, I don't know. That's a long way to answer your question, but
no, I think
I'm heavy-winded if you can't tell.
That's all right. Larry, what do I always say about tag teams? If you don't have matching gear, you're not a real tag team.
Matching feet to come to the ring, like everything has to be. It
has to fit, and that's how I grew up watching wrestling. Is that the tag team? There was actual tag teams. Like Edge and Christian they looked exactly alike when they were a tag team. But those are like the Hardys and Dudley Boys. It was all
they had similar. They could play off each other. They had similar looks and stuff like that. And like you said, I think it's a lost art at this point.
Well, the Dudley Boys didn't have similar looks.
Not similar looks, but like the camera and everything.
I didn't want
to. Don't say stupid shit.
I always say stupid shit. That's why you talk to this.
This is what makes you a tag team too. Knowing how to press each other's buttons. This is tag team.
I mean, I'm not pressing buttons. I'm just being real.
That's what I would have said too. All right. What do you got, Larry?
So,
I see you warming something up.
Yeah, guys, going as like you were saying with being in a tag team and finally coming together, was there things that you pull from, maybe like you brought the Hart Foundation up or something like that, from what you watched in wrestling and try and work it into either into your match or just into your character to become a better wrestler, period?
You constantly got to watch. So I mean, I'm constantly studying tape and trying to bring new and exciting things. I mean, I always say what's new what's old is going to become new again. So I pull a lot of my tape study from whenever I really was a fan. So I was really diehard whenever I was younger. So, early 90s, which is a weird time, which was a weird time in wrestling, especially from like 93 to like 96. But that was the time that I grew up in, and that's the time that I most resonate with. But I've been getting into a lot of late 80s, and really what I pull from these teams, it's not so much moves. It's more so how they move, how they work as a team, how they cut the ring in half. Because I feel like a lot of teams now don't cut the ring in half. They don't work on their side of the ring. And it's really about positioning the referee, positioning yourselves, and being able to really take advantage of whatever's in your way. And, traditionally, a lot of the heel teams, they used to be very, very menacing. They were tight. They were very like, you wouldn't mess with them, and it was always one little thing that the other team would get up on them on, and I really enjoy it. So I don't necessarily think that we base what we do off of specific teams. We more so take little things from the top teams and try to incorporate it in what we do. I get more of my character stuff based off of a lot of singles guys that I kind of bring into the tag team realm. But definitely you watch for more so like the cohesiveness of the teams than anything else. At least I do.
I mean, I watch, with tag teams, I usually gravitate towards ones that are, matching, because I can look at them or have tagged for a while. Like, I love watching Breezango work. So that's one, but also they have got really great character work and things like that, because that's, why I'm not going to say we're the most intimidating, because we're not, big, we're not huge or anything like that. No,
but you better not fuck with us.
I mean, yeah, don't mess with us. But, but like, I don't know. I think I've gotten a lot of character stuff from watching way too much Schitt's Creek at this point. But yeah,
you gotta pull character. You gotta pull character. I mean, I'm telling you, you gotta pull stuff from not even wrestling half the time.
I was gonna ask that too. I was gonna ask where you actually draw the character work from, because I didn't think it was gonna be all wrestling based. Like,
there's a lot of quoting going on all the time around here. I continually tell him to eat glass.
Well, no, like, and I think a lot of it too, like, I mean, my original character was, not even character, my original idea for Calvin was, more so, I used to tell people I was like a male Kardashian, like Calvin is famous, but you don't really know why. And you also don't really want to know why, but
I think we all knew why, though, right? Wasn't it the sex tape?
Well, that's up for interpretation, whatever you want. If there's a sex tape out there, I don't know about it, but I mean, whatever. If it gets me the follows, I don't care. But just more of like, that like socialite. So what I originally envisioned was more so of taking something from real life, an idea of real life, and bringing it into wrestling. And at the time, nobody was doing that. Now you see different characters kind of pulling from that. And I think that's great, because it challenges me as a performer to take different ideas, take different, really just take inspiration from different places and making it my own. Fashion and, fashion's something that's been done before. I mean, let's talk about it. Rick the Model Martel. I mean, one of the iconic characters, and he really didn't even do too much with the fashion piece. But think of him. Think of like whenever Rico was managing Billy and Chuck. Like, there's so many different fashion characters that have come through wrestling. And that are still in today. I mean, like you mentioned Breezango. I mean, technically they were more of like a fashion type of character. So it's just putting your different spin on things. I think what we portray and what we do is a little different. And we do put our own spin on it. But really, you really just have to take that inspiration from anywhere you can.
And just make sure it's like you continually evolve it. I mean, when I started out, my character wasn't very, it was more just generic, arrogant, pretty boy sort of, thing. And then, we started tagging more, and I'm like, well, what can I do that's going to play off of his? What can we incorporate into the tag team that, we may not be able to, hit those big moves, but what can we do instead? Like, so I shifted more to being a designer, fashionista, designer. And then, what can I bring with me? What can I make? What kind of, things can I have? So I've got like a book that is bedazzled to hell and has like, design, it says like Tyler's design, stuff like that. Can use that, just things that really bring to the character that people will remember, because people will remember book, engaging the fans when you could engage fans with certain things.
And it's always about trying different things. Mm-hmm. I used to bring a mirror out to the ring with me, and I would look at myself in the mirror, while I was, kind of walking down the ring. And I did that for a little bit. And I still have fans ask me, oh, what happened to the mirror? And I normally tell them that they looked into it and broke it. So thank you for being so ugly. But no, it's just small stuff like that. Mm-hmm. At the time, whenever the bow tie wasn't even going to be something that was going to stay. And then I accidentally left it on in my first match, and it stayed on. And I was like, no, we're going to roll with it. So that's been kind of something that I've been sticking with. That's kind of one of my identifiers now. Mm-hmm. Now I know there's other people that do it, but whenever I don't have my bow tie, or it falls off, or something happens, I almost feel naked. Whenever I'm wrestling without it. Twice my bow tie has fallen off and or broken twice whenever I was in the ring.
It gives you your powers, right? So if you lose it, you're powerless.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have bow ties until I really came here, just because I wanted to be a little bit different.
Yeah, we don't want to be the same.
Yeah, I've only had mine pop off once, and it was by just flipping over, and I yelled, and all of a sudden my neck just burst it. I was like, what the hell? Okay. But no, I decided to change it up a little bit, because I mean, bow ties his thing. I gotta do mine, although I get called Fred a lot, like Scooby-Doo. So the ascots. It works different. I mean, they don't fly off anymore.
I mean, I'm not going to wear an ascot, but
no, you're not going to, because it's my.
I don't want to wear an ascot. Trust me.
So, guys, when someone is leaving a show that you guys are booked on, what's one thing you want them saying as they walk out about your team?
How good we look.
Well, that's obvious. I don't think we need them to say how good we look. Just how different we are. Mm-hmm. What we bring that's different. It's great because a lot of people see us different places for the first time, and they do say like, wow, we hate those guys. And I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that they hate us. I love that by just walking to the ring, people cannot stand us. That is my goal. That is what I want every time I walk out in the ring. I want people to walk out and be like, oh, fuck these guys.
Right as soon as you step out,
yeah,
that should be we are to be hated.
Yeah, that should be the goal.
You're doing your job, because once you step in the ring, they're going to want you to get your ass beat.
Right. And that was always my goal. And it just makes it that much better whenever people are enjoying the fact that we're getting the shit kicked out of us. But that's the nature of it. I want to do my part. What's that?
You want them to feel something. That's the emotion.
I want them to feel something.
That's how they're going to remember you. They might remember that they hate you, but at least they remember you.
Exactly. And I feel like there's so many times anymore where, you can do so many flips, so many dives. But whenever it gets down to it, if someone's not feeling something, like, yeah, they'll clap and they'll be like, oh, that dive. But, the next show, they're not going to be like, normally they try to figure out who did the dive. They don't remember who did the dive, but they'll remember the way that someone made them feel. And if it's the lady in the front row who needs to go on a diet, she'll remember me telling her, call Jenny Craig. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, there's different ways that you can get people involved and make people a part of the show, because whenever you start making people a part of the show and feel like they're part of the show, you're doing your job as an entertainer. That's why they're paying their money to come see you. That's why they're really, they want that escape. It's the escape from reality, like I mentioned before. And I think that's and especially important now with the current climate we're in, especially because fans can't be in there. It's making them feel that way through you know, a TV screen or a lens. Just making them feel that way. And I think whenever you make somebody feel something, you're doing your job.
Because with a lot of things now being tapings and everything like that, you forget, you know, you're not interacting with somebody right there. So you interact, I've seen so many times where people aren't interacting with either the cameras, the roaming cameras, anything like that. And that's what's, you know, they're just thinking of what's coming next, or what am I going to, you know, what cool move am I going to pull off next? It's like, no, like we will sit there and we'll acknowledge those people at home. We'll acknowledge the camera person just to make sure that, you know, it still gives them that sense of being there, and they remember, you know, that's who these guys are. They're the ones that are, you know, looking, they're the ones that are acknowledging that I am there, even though I'm, you know, technically not, I'm just watching it. So, I mean, that's what I feel.
It's just like feeling with any anything you're watching on television.
We've talked about a lot, the lost art and drawing emotion and building character, and it kind of all ties into like how, and the ultimate goal is to get new viewers and to build the viewer count up for professional wrestling, and a lot of that ties into itself. So the lost art of storytelling and building characters from popular things that aren't just wrestling, that's how you draw new eyes, and that's how you get new people invested, and that's kind of the route that wrestling has lost, and it's much needed to bring it back to get those viewers up and to get more eyes on the product. And I think character work has always been one of my favorite things in wrestling, and I grew up watching probably around the same time, like really got hooked in the early 90s, and that's when there was a lot of characters, given they were usually occupational characters but still characters in themselves. And from there, I mean, characters kind of evolved, and there were still characters that were just larger than life characters.
I mean, you're wearing Danhausen's shirt, so I mean, character, gotta love Danhausen. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, obviously love characters because who's bigger character than Danhausen?
He dropped me on my head once, and I'm still bitter about it.
I mean, he didn't. At least he didn't like slap the crap out of you. I don't know if that's.
Did he slap that? I don't remember.
No, he slapped me.
I remember
it was almost the teeth, but he slapped.
All I remember is
he
gave me a German suplex, and I'm still feeling it. That was like a year ago, and I'm still feeling it.
Yeah, that's right.
And people say Danhausen can't wrestle.
What?
He does. Yeah, he needs to calm down.
Whoever.
That Danhausen.
And that's kind of how the character work has kind of evolved. It's kind of now social media driven character work, where you're able to see, people are able to see you and just get invested in you just for character, and then they get to see you in the ring and see what you're all about in the ring. And that's kind of like,
they're the ones that are they're the most successful ones right now who are able to do that. I mean, you've got Dan, Effie, you've got all these people that are just kind of bringing their character to the next level, bringing their character onto social media, and just kind of getting, you know, everywhere and making sure that they're heard and known, and it's what's working for them. And a lot of people don't understand social media nowadays. Like, they'll put up their one photo a day, or their, oh, I'm on this poster, here we go, and then that's it. Like, you have to capitalize more on it.
Well, what's wrong with one photo a day?
I mean, I have a problem. I have a problem not.
You post too much.
I don't post too much.
You post too much.
No, I don't.
Well, that's how you play off each other. One person doesn't post at all, one posts too much, and then
okay, let's calm down there. I post at least once a day, all right? I interact on social media, but there can be something as known as like too much interaction. You need people yeah, okay. People want more. Like, you gotta leave the people wanting more. You know what I'm saying? Shut up. But that's but that's what I'm saying. Like, you need the people need to want a little more. You can't just give them everything.
I mean, I can't get mind with that.
I like the fact that we think that it's character work, but we kind of are questioning it right now, and this could actually be, and that's an important part of wrestling too, is like believability.
Mm-hmm.
What's real? What's fake?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Was I wearing this all day? Was I not? You'll never know.
Did you go outside today?
Yes, I did.
I still think you wore it all day though.
No, you'll never know.
Maybe throw a hat on because it's cold, but I still think the base was there.
Could be. Once again, you'll never know.
No, we won't. That's
So,
the beauty of, you only let us know what you want us to know.
Exactly. Guys, going forward now, is camp, guess for the foreseeable future, if you guys are invited back, Camp Leapfrog, but is there anything past Camp Leapfrog? Are you looking at other promotions? Will you take anything you want? You more picky?
It really depends on the opportunity. In 2020, we were very lucky to be featured on some really high-profile events. We were at the Collective for Effie's Brunch, which was fantastic. We were featured on MB Young's Polyam Cult Party, which was also fantastic. And it keeps going. The next thing...
Actually, we were heavily prominent in the Intergender Bonanza, which is right over across from you guys.
That's what I was just going to go on next. That's the one thing that we do have planned that's coming up here in April that we are really excited about, the Intergender Bonanza over at the H2O wrestling facility there in New Jersey. We've really been able to come in our own there as well, and it's been a really fun experience, being a part of the Intergender Bonanza. Wrestled some great people, continue to wrestle some great people, and we're very excited to see what's going to happen next. There might be something interesting coming up for the Intergender Bonanza, so you might want to keep your eyes out on that. Yeah, a little spin on something. But really, other than that, 2021, we'll kind of see what happens. We're still in that time where we're kind of in a little bit of a downturn, just with it still being winter. So hopefully when it gets warmer, things will start opening back up.
Once they're allowed to have outside shows and stuff like that, that's where it's a lot easier, I think. I mean, obviously, you can't really do too much inside and have a very limited crowd and not really have a big show. But if you can do, outside of the sporting area or any place like that, the summer is going to be really good for it, because then you can just space people out and be safe.
So that's where we are now. The runway is definitely available, depending on our schedule. Filling up quick, but there is that availability for the right opportunity if you want some fashion and want something a little different. We are here. That's what we're here for. We're here to bring something different to any show that we are on. So you can always expect that.
All right, a little fantasy booking question. If you were to take the tag team from any of the major promotions and the indies, like say you were to take a tag team from AEW that you've never faced before, who would you want to face? Same with WWE, and then in the indies.
Oh God.
Okay, can I do AEW? Because
it depends on who you're gonna be. Yeah. We can do. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so mine for AEW would probably be FTR. I've been a fan of them forever. Just WWE and currently in AEW, I think they're probably the best tag team around personally. But that would be my AEW pick.
Yeah, I think that would have to be mine too. I mean, they're different. They bring kind of.
They're different because they're old school. They're not.
Yeah, they bring that old school mentality. They're focused on
them back in the 80s. They're not different anymore.
Right, and that's what's great about it, though, is you don't see teams like that anymore. And that's why that's why I love watching them, because they adapt to today's style, but don't lose who they are by trying to adapt to today's style. And I think that's where a lot of wrestlers lose themselves, is trying to adapt to the style of today. I'm trying to think. I'm drawing a blank. WWE.
I would go for an NXT tag team, because with the main roster, you don't really see that much, tag team stuff.
Cohesion.
Yeah, there's not much cohesion. I mean, you have the Street Profits, but I would say with me it'd be Breezango, but that's just because I think I love them. When they won the titles a little bit ago, I was so excited, because I think it was like, wow, they'd be great for it. I mean, that's my personal pick from WWE, because I like NXT, but I don't know if you have something different.
I would go with something a little different. Now, I know they're not technically a team anymore, but I think it would be fun to wrestle the Iconics.
Ooh. It's actually.
I think that would be an interesting dynamic. You know, I don't know how certain people feel about intergender wrestling, but I think that would be character-wise, that would be a lot of attitude.
It'd be a lot of fun.
It'd be a lot of attitude in the ring, and I really think that that's something that you know, people don't really. I mean, I get it. People want to see wrestling, and you know, obviously there would be wrestling, but it's more so the dynamic of these two teams that are very similar, yet very different in the ring and what they can do together. And you know, I normally wouldn't go with an all-female tag team, but there's just something that they bring to the table that is different that I think we could really, really work with. So that would be my answer for that. On the independent scene. Now, this is a hard question.
I have my pick.
Okay, you can go for it then.
Okay, so honestly, if I had my pick with the independent, it would probably be Effie and Alley Cat. That would be mine. I think that they're fun to watch. I like Effie. He's fun. Alley Cat is fun to watch too. I think that they have a good dynamic together. I think that match could be a lot of fun since we've worked with Effie before at the Polycult party. But I think we could bring the house down with that. But that's my personal opinion. But you might feel differently.
Mine would be the Gymnasty Boys. I think that would be something.
You want to talk about characters going wild in that one?
Yeah, there'd be a lot of something in that match. I'm not sure what, but there'd be a lot of something in that match. But I'm not even sure if they're teaming anymore. To be honest with you, I feel like the current pandemic has kind of changed a lot of people's aspirations. So I'm not even sure if they're teaming anymore, but if I had to pick a team, it would probably be them. Definitely a team that's uncharacteristic, but always fun to watch. And they have matching gear. I mean,
True.
They look like a team.
We'll critique it.
Yeah.
Of course.
They're very surprised because when you listen to them and they put on their show, I mean, you don't expect them to be that athletic in the ring, and that is what I think ties it all together. Is that holy shit? It's like a complete package type deal.
They can go.
Yeah,
they can go.
We've had them on the show, and they completely took over the show, and I have no idea what the show was about.
Yeah.
Those are the best shows, though, right?
Yeah.
Those are the best shows.
Now, you touched on intergender wrestling, and I know Larry was just about to wrap it up, but I do feel like that's a very important topic in wrestling now, is it does have its detractors, but it does have a really great support system, too, that is normally louder than the detractors. I personally like it because I think you run out of stories to tell, and then when you mix it up, and look, you're trying to dispense belief. Like, you're not going to see too many 5'3", 110-pound women beat a 240-pound behemoth, but I'm not looking for its realism sometimes. Like, I do love technical wrestling, and I do love when people are able to go hold for hold, but when I want to have fun, I want to have fun. And I think that is a fun aspect of wrestling, but not to say it's just fun. There are plenty of women that could probably whip a lot of guys' asses as well.
Oh, yeah.
Now, is that something that you prefer, or is that something that if it's thrown your way, you're going to take, or is it?
It's not something that I would be opposed to at all. I've been in plenty of intergender matches. I've been in mixed tag matches. It's not something that I'm afraid of. I think a good entertainer and performer can make anything work. That's what is a good sign of an entertainer or performer. Are there times whenever I don't think certain situations are believable? Of course, but it's wrestling. It's the same thing as a comic book. You know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be a different world, a different reality. And some of the girls that I've been in the ring with can kick a majority of the men's asses in the locker room, like for real.
I mean,
so, all I'm saying is, if I can guarantee, for example, Ray Lynn could kick a lot of guys' asses. Like, she's jacked, so she can kick a lot of the guys' asses, and she's like what 5'4", she's jacked though. She's, you know what I mean? Like her or like Holiday, for example. Like I'm not fucking with Holiday because she could kick my ass.
She looks scary.
No.
She looks like she could fight.
And that's the thing. Like there are so many women out there that look like they can fight. Ziggy Heim, for example, she'll hit you, man.
Oh yeah, no, she will.
I've trained with her. She hits you hard. So it's just some of the girls hit harder than the guys do. And for me, fucking hit me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fucking hit me.
Not in the face.
If they're gonna hit me in the face, you better. You better expect to get hit back. I don't care who you are. Hit me in the face, you're getting fucked up.
I mean, my favorite singles match that I've had was actually an intergender match. I wrestled a show here in Pittsburgh. Just randomly, somebody didn't show up, and I was just there, and it was versus. You know what?
Get to the
fight me. I wrestled Katie Arquette, who is based here in Pittsburgh with IWC, and she's phenomenal. It's probably she's most okay. She was fun to work. I know that you guys had a point, but I haven't. Whatever. I had to take the brunt after what happened like before between.
She hasn't looked as good ever since.
That's true. But that was probably one of my favorite singles match. That is probably my favorite singles match that I've had. Just because it was one of those that was very believable that she could whoop my ass in a second, and we had great chemistry together, and it worked really well. But I'm sorry, I'm talking up Katie, my bad, but that's old news. Come on now.
It's water under the bridge, right?
Yeah,
sure.
Nope.
Doesn't look like it.
I was just trying to egg it on a little bit.
That's a sensitive subject.
I'm over it.
Good.
All right, guys. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. We want to thank you so much for taking the time and talking with us and being here with us. It was really cool talking to you guys, and we hope to see you on Love Frog, February 14th, IWTV Facebook page. You have something, Joe?
No, I was just crossing fingers because we don't know. They said they might be there, they might not be there. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
We're on the VIP guest list, though. So
I don't want to co-sign for something that they might not show up at, and that makes us look bad.
I can guarantee if we're there, we are gonna look damn good.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. All right, guys. Thanks again so much for being on, and hopefully we'll be talking to you soon.
We're gonna have to do this again. Definitely.
Oh yeah, totally.
I feel like there's more questions to be asked. We'll save them for round 2.
Our fashion expertise, we're always here.
We can speak next time if you want. There you go.